Thank you so much, people of Africa. Thank you so much, people of Europe. And thank you so much, people of America and people of Asia and people of the world. Once again, Dr. Alfred is here. And thank you for keeping me in this seat. And today we are going to be discussing about a topic. Two lovers who killed themselves because of a forbidden marriage in Nigeria, for one of them being the descendants of slaves. This is a cultural issue, but it is worth discussing it because we want to go out of the Asian things that is causing people pain, that is causing them heartbreaks, an impact on our community and lives. So we'll be looking at why these people kill themselves. We're going to be looking at how this cultural phenomenon has continued till date. We'll be looking at the challenges this group of people face. And we're going to be looking at the effects it has on our communities. And we'll go further to think of possible solutions, suggest possible solutions to this problem. Thank you so much for always watching. Thank you so much for always listening to Dr. Alfred through ATY TV channel. Once again, I will see you guys at the other side for full detail of this discussion. Thank you. Once again, you are welcome back. You are welcome back for this discussion. Thank you so much. As I told you, we are going to be looking at this sensitive cultural issue, but it is important for us to discuss it. It is very important, because couples killing themselves because of a forbidden marriage as a result of an ancient belief that one of them is the descendants of slave trade. This is not the first time people have killed themselves. A lot of people have been displaced. People have been killed by others because of this phenomenon. But this one is so important. These two couples killed themselves because one of them, the family, refused that they wouldn't marry each other. And they decided to kill themselves. That was at the beginning of August this year. And I'm so grateful this issue came up in an article. So I believe it is very important for us to discuss it today. These two couples or lovers hail from Okija in southeastern Anambra state of Nigeria. And they killed themselves because of an old cultural belief which classify a certain type of people as descendants of slave trade, and as a result cannot marry to some particular group of people. We respect culture in Africa. We respect our communities, what we grew with. But there are certain things that sometimes it is worth looking at it from different perspectives. These two couples are in their 30s. And they wanted to marry. And they didn't allow them to do so. And this is not the first time that this situation has happened. A lot of people have been killed by family members. People have been harassed. It caused a lot of issues in the community. People have been denied whatever it is because of this belief. And let me give a certain background, a very comprehensive background, that this type of cultural belief were people who sat down to do that. Because those days, there were wars being fought. And when you lost your war, you were being captured as slave. And that makes you an outcast. I remember talking to one of my friends in Nigeria. She said they are an outcast. That is a belief that people have, that we still carry to today, which is affecting people's life, depriving people from what they're supposed to have, what they want to enjoy. You know, slavery was officially abolished in the 90s, in the 1900s, sorry, by the descendants of free slaves among the group of people known as the Igbo community or Igbo ethnic group, you know, still inherit the statues of their ancestors as a result of old local culture and ancient belief. That's why I say this is a culture that was made by people. You know, you can't believe what is happening. So the descendants of the slaves among the Igbo falls under two categories. They have one they call the Uhus. They have one they call the Uhus, ancestors. The Uhus ancestors who are classified as those who were owned by humans. You know, when they lost the wars, these people were captured, and human beings decided to own them to themselves. So, and the other category that is being classified is the Osus, the Osu slaves. These slaves were owned by gods. Have you seen? How can a slave, a human being who is a slave, be owned by a god? But the reason is that these people, after they had won war and captured these people, they bring them to the gods and give them to the gods for helping them to win the war. This is why some particular people were owned to the war. So these two categories, the Uhus and the Osus, one were owned by human beings, one were owned by the gods. And you can't believe that. It still exists today. As a result, these two couples, or several of them, cannot marry because of this cultural belief. It's so disturbing to hear things like this that still exist in this mode in 2020, still exist. Let's look at how this has continued to this point. You know, this has continued till today. How is it happening? It's like passing a message from one generation to another. This message has been passed from one generation to another strongly in some cultural in Nigeria. And how do? They instill fear in the young ones that are coming up, giving them examples of people who have suffered consequences as a result of failing. And these are false narratives as a result of people who have failed to obey what it is. You know? So this fear has been instilled from one generation to generation. And this has continued to the year we are, 2020. 2020. It still exists. 2 years ago, somebody killed himself. I think 2.5 years ago, there were a family. I cannot mention the names. There were a family that harassed and killed somebody because he was to marry their sister. And he was believed as one of the Igbo group who belongs to the Ohus or the Osus or the Igus. And as a result, this guy lost his life. You know, these are ancient beliefs. We don't have to believe it. And let me tell you, because of these actions, this group of people have faced a lot of challenges. And one of them is they are not allowed to marry from a certain clans. They are not allowed to marry. I remember a professor in UC Berkeley in US said that they are not allowed to marry their daughters. But this group of people are so wealthy because of this situation, they force themselves to be more vibrant in businesses, in the Igbo community. So what he said was that Even though they are not allowed to marry this group of people, when you are befriending their daughter of the other tribe or clan, they come to you for money. But they don't need you to marry their daughters. You see where it doesn't make sense? There's no connection in this. It doesn't make sense. If you think that a person is a slave and you don't need him or her to marry to your daughter or son, you don't go to him for help financially. But this is what happens. You see how it is? They are banned. They cannot marry from the other clans because of this ancient belief that they are the descendants of slaves. Again, the most disturbing part is that they are banned from traditional leadership positions. They are banned from traditional leadership positions. They cannot hold any traditional leadership positions. They cannot lead. They cannot do anything. No matter how competent, how educated, how efficient they are to help the community develop, they are not, because of one single Asian belief. These were things that were made by human beings who sat down and decided that because of this and this it is. Another challenge these people are facing, they are banned from running political office. When you are in a community and they know that you are the descendants of trade, you cannot run for a political office. And in every political environment, your own community where you live will have to accept you, will have to put you forward, that you have the competence, you have the political will, the ability, the leadership skill to be able to lead. One person might have this skill. One person must be more than qualified to do that. But because of one single Asian belief that they are the descendants of slaves, they are not allowed to do so. No. Never will they ever represent their communities in the parliament. That's another challenge they face. They will never represent their community in the parliament. And the government of Nigeria knew, because you know why I knew? They have laws about this particular situation. But it has become difficult for them to implement the laws. And the reason is that some of them still have that belief. The friend I spoke to, and he said their outcast is highly educated. At least the person have a bachelor degree, so he is educated. And should be able to say this thing means is highly indoctrinated in the minds of the people within that culture. This is very disturbing. They are not also being given the chance to do anything that would help the community because of this belief. They are not. Anytime they come up with something, because they are the descendants of, they are not qualified. Idea is not represented. The idea is not what they value. It doesn't happen that way. Let's allow the old age beliefs to go. Beliefs that we believe that it impacts on our lives, on people's life, on people's feelings, and people's day-to-day lives. Let's allow it to go. Because these laws, these beliefs were made by people. It is we same people who can unmake them. That's true. And the effects, let's talk of the effects that this Asian belief, and as a result of all these challenges, these people, what it has on their communities and the individual as a whole. Unwarranted death like this happens. People have killed themselves. People have been killed because people believe that so strongly. Why? Because of what has been passed to them, mentally and psychologically brainwashed to believe that that is the reality. It is not the reality. This is Africa today. This is the world today. And things has to change. Why is it that everybody is protesting today? Because a white man sees us that way. So if among us as blacks we do this, what can we say? about the white who sees us differently. And it's nothing simply because of my skin color, your skin color, but nothing else. Blood the same, everything the same, the water that flows out of my body the same, everything apart from the color. And God in his own wisdom, he made colors. That is the truth. That is the truth. Another effect that it has on the people and the communities, that conflict among communities. There have been incessant conflicts. Conflict that is not supposed to happen. For instance, the issue of brothers going to kill somebody created a conflict. It created a conflict. Violence from parents and relatives, because they say we will not allow. They come out with violence in order to mitigate or stop that incident that is going to happen, because the person is a descendant of slave. That is the belief. Hidden marriages, because people now know that if we come out and say we are this and this and this and this, they will stop us from marrying each other. It can cause us our lives. It can cause conflicts. So they marry when nobody is even aware. They go somewhere and marry, and they don't want to disclose it to their own people. Has it changed nothing? No. So why are we not allowing this? Why are we not understanding that this is an old belief that occurred several years ago? That at 2020 that we are more of highly educated, or we are more highly educated. We can think twice and allow things like this to happen. You know, when things like this happen, another effect is that slow economic and socio-cultural development. You know why I'm saying this? Because people who are more efficient, people who can offer, people who can do a lot might come from the descendants of slaves. And they might not be allowed to. So you see, economically, no. If they are to lead, they can't. If they are to do anything in the community, they can't. If they are to become members of parliament, they can't. That is what I'm talking about. How can't we look at it from different perspectives and sit down to reanalyze how it came, and how can we stop this happening again? I believe that we have traditional leaders in Africa all over the world. Ghana, I'm from Ghana, all over the world. But Africa, Nigeria is like a neighbor to Ghana. We have our own differences, don't forget. But when it comes to human perspective, we are the same. We are. We always say we are next door neighbors, though there are two countries in between Ghana and Nigeria. We have Togo, we have Burkina Faso in between. But we still see each other. We are more connected to each other than the two countries in between. Why can't we allow this in our own backyards to take a very smooth flow through different ideas, to debunk that belief that affects people and their lives, that affects people and their daily living? I think it will help us a lot. I think it will help us a lot. But how can we do this? I will suggest some few solutions, because this is a station that doesn't just talk. It will suggest solutions. And one of them is formation of initiatives. I remember reading about in 2007 a 44-year-old OJ Maduagu found an initiative for eradication of traditional and cultural stigmatization in the society. She's been educating for equal rights of descendants of slave trade. This tells you how deep it has been for OJ to come out and form an initiative to educate people, to fight for the rights of this so call false classification of human beings as descendants of trade and not allowing them to do what they want. I think we need to come out a lot and talk. Like somebody like this, I'm talking about it. Let's come out and talk about it. Let's come out and find ways of educating people who are older than us and people who are younger than us, to let them know that it is not real. It is not. Like OJ, I read one script of OJ. OJ said these laws were made by human beings. And they can be unmade, or these beliefs were made by human beings. And they can be unmade by the same human beings. It was a word of mouth that was passed through a cultural setting. Why not us also sit to do same and start educating people through these initiatives to understand and learn to accept each other as one individual, and doesn't see each other as the descendants of slaves? Because there's nothing forbidden there. Wars were fought, people lost, they were captured, classified or defined as slaves. That's it. There's no consequential aspect of this. But this was made by human beings, and this is causing a lot of problems. So I think formation of initiative like what OJ did will help us learn to educate people so much. It will help. And another thing we should do, let's engagement of grassroots men and women through education. So this initiative, we can engage grassroots men and women and educate them about these incidents. It is not easy to do that, but it takes a step to resolve this. It's so disturbing to hear this. The people are losing their lives because of this Asian belief. That doesn't have a consequence to real human life. The consequence it has is the people killing themselves. The consequence it has is the people not allowed to lead the community because they might have ideas that can be provided to these communities. Why? But the fallacy itself, the belief itself, the Asian belief, the Asian culture belief itself doesn't have consequences. But it is the way people's minds are being programmed to believe that that is the reality. This is how it's been passed from one generation to another. Let's also pass the other side of it, the good side of it, from now to other generations, so that deaths like this don't occur. It will help to increase our economic development. People who are efficient, effective, and knowledgeable are allowed to lead and give brilliant ideas that can change our communities, environment, and offices. I think it will help us so much. Let's also, as those who are educated and are working or are representing the communities at the parliament at whatever stage, let's try to enforce the existing laws that has been formed. There are laws against these things, but it is not enforced in Nigeria. It is not enforced because if it is enforced and applied, this wouldn't be happening. It will not be happening. I read an article that said that it has become so difficult for this law to be enforced. It has become so difficult for the application of this law because some of those people who allow this law to be enforced and help eradicate this Asian belief, cultural belief, still believe that. So they don't have interest in leading, representing to enforce these laws. As a result, people are being killed by themselves or by people who think that it is not right for them to be married because they are descendants of slaves, the Uhus and the Osus, who are from the Igbo clan or Igbo tribe. It is not right. I think it is the best time for us to think and do things right. Let all of you come together and do all the solutions I just suggested, and take it from there. Though it is not it's not easy. I know some of you will not like what I'm saying, but that is the best way for us. That is the best way for Africa. That's the best way for Nigeria, and that's the best way for Okija at Eastern Anambra State and wherever it exists. I'm so grateful to have had opportunity to look at these articles. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to read them thoroughly. That's why I'm discussing it. There are more to this, but I'm just giving all of you to think about it, give your comments about this, and we'll take it from there. Let's also support OJ and others who will come out with initiatives. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for keeping me on this seat all the time to give information like this. I do appreciate all of you. And my name is Dr. Alfred, and I'm representing ATY TV channel. This is being broadcasted from Ohio, United States of America. Thank you so much. But one thing I would like you before you go, please kindly like this video, kindly subscribe, share it to others, because we want to have bigger voice that we can listen and discuss to each other. And don't forget, questions came through my private email. I did answer one. There's another one. I will be answering it in our next time, in our next videos. And please, I hope to see you in the next videos, because we're going to bring you very important, decisive, difficult conversations about politics, business, leadership, culture, education, and motivational issues. Thank you so much. I love all of you. Please subscribe, share, and like. Thank you so much, and see you again.